It's not a lot of time before it starts to come together, and it's just keep chipping away at it. Every single day, something new, and you will eventually start joining all these different dots. So my view, and I'm going to show you the facts of this, is that we are very nearly at the end of this thing, and we are about to get free. You've got to morally have your own position. Otherwise, why the hell are you doing it? You've got to understand what's really going on. A debt collection scam, it's 80% of most of the things we're dealing with comes via the debt collectors. So it's good for the soul. It's good to do this stuff. And just know that you can win. It's knowing your argument and sticking to your guns. They can't breach it, and then they're just going to give up. The point I'm trying to make is that it absolutely works. Hey guys, Gavin here from Sovereign Empowerment once again. So I've got a new guest today, a guy called Robert. Robert's actually a subscriber to the channel. And the reason Robert's here today is I did a video a little while back called How to Beat the Debt Collectors Using the Law. And in that video, I walked through how we shut down a debt collection agent right at the very beginning where they'd made the claim of a debt liability. And I explained how to do that using the Data Protection Act and keeping it very simple in so much as at the very beginning, they haven't provided any proof of the debt liability, so they have a lawful obligation to confirm why they have obtained and are processing your data. And I showed how to shut that whole thing down right at the very beginning before it becomes anything. Now, Rob watched that video and he applied what he learned from that to his own situation with a debt collector for a water utility company, and he succeeded. But he also made a mistake. And I think that's a really cool thing to show you guys, because one of the things that happens a lot with the folks I talk to is a lot of people just starting this stuff get very worried about making mistakes, right? Messing it all up. And I always say that's one of the best things you can do. And what Robert did here is he made a mistake, but he was still taking action and he still got his remedy. He's still succeeding in what he was doing. The point I'm trying to make is that imperfect action is actually far better than looking at perfect action, because you're never going to know it all. And even when you even succeed, you still don't know it all. So with that said, Rob, welcome to the call. Thanks for giving me your time.
No worries. Hi.
You're going to walk us through the entire case from beginning to end.
I'll do my best. So it was with a water utility company. And the reason I did it with this one was because it was only really a small amount. If it went wrong, I could just pay it off. So it was really a test case to see how well it worked. So this was after it had actually been sent on to the debt collector, because I've been ignoring it for quite a few months. My water company doesn't really chase it that quickly, but they put the balance up it was originally 225 quid, I think, and they'd already added like 60, 70 quid on top there. And when I got this, I was just looking at it and thinking, right, okay, I'll start the process with this one then, because I've just got it. And the first thing I did was I looked at the bottom of the email and I saw this. It says unsubscribe emails. So I clicked that because I just thought I don't really want to deal with it. And then what I did was, on one of the Facebook groups I'm on, that there was someone had done this before, and I copied what he'd done regarding the water company, and I came up with this. If this is the right one? Yeah, so I came up with this, and I did copy it and just change it to make it more relatable to me. I was asking for the claim. So I was asking, can you show me that it's a proper bill? Can you show me there's a contract that exists between us? And could you guarantee that the toxins found in the water report weren't now being delivered to us domestic supply? So I sent that off to them. They're very happy. They gave me a reply of this, which I thought was quite nice. It was quite quick and prompt, but I didn't really understand what they were talking about, because they were saying you can log on to the water company's site and deal with it, and what health quality, what could they have my health records so they could go into it in further detail, which I thought was I can see what they were doing. So I just moved on from that, and I replied with this. You might need to make some.
Just a quick one on that, Rob, with the last one. So what, obviously, just explain to people what had happened there. You'd put in your questions, your argument, shall we say. They'd ignored it and come back with something different.
Yes.
And you in turn ignored them and carried on with your own argument. And
Yes.
I think that's a really important lesson for folks out there, because this is a standard ploy when you're doing this stuff, in that, and Damien speaks about this a lot, understand the box you're putting yourself in, understand the argument that you have. Because what they will do, if they can't get past what you're doing, your argument, they're going to pull you away from that into something they control. And a lot of people make the mistake by following that, and then they start arguing something completely different. away from where they actually put themselves at the beginning, where they win. And what you'd smartly done there is you ignored everything and still brought it back to the main point that you're trying to make.
So it's really interesting you mentioned that. It's really interesting you mentioned that, because that was one of the things that I got from the video that you said. And it was
Brilliant.
that thing that I wanted to try. It was the fact that stay in your frame, because you're asking them something and you want the answer to it. Do you know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
turn around to someone and say, "What's your name?" If they give you their age, that's not what I asked you. So anyway,
No, it's absolutely right.
so that's what I did. They gave me a response, and I just said, "Thank you for your prompt response." So there appears to be a little confusion. I'm requesting proof of the debt. If you can provide me with the proof, I'll gladly pay. And so I just waffled on a little bit about what I was talking about as in deed of assignment, and just patronised them a little bit, because it's a debt collection agency. I think they deserve being patronising. I think with official bodies, you probably can't quite get away with that. But I tried to put in a little bit of humour in there somewhere, just because I wanted to have fun with it. So I said there were no claims with. I just simply requested that if they could verify the toxins weren't in the drinking water anymore. And I said, to help you with your query, please find attached a DSAR. Now, I spent quite a bit of time looking for a DSAR online that made sense to me, because there's a lot of templates out there. Everyone uses templates. We know that. They all come back and say, "Oh, you're just using a template," and it's yes, so are you. But I wanted one that at least I could try and back up somewhere. So I found one online. I'm not going to show it you because it's too long. But it was designed specifically to be all encompassing, but enough to be able to mean that they would just send it to you. And it seemed to work very well. So I used it. So I sent them that, and I also said that I looked them up on Companies House, found the CEO, and sent the original questions and the DSAR to the CEO as well in a recorded mail. So they were quite happy about that. And I put at the bottom, hopefully this person can help support you with your work, which I thought was a nice little touch. So they responded very quickly. Oh, sorry, I haven't redacted that bit. They said, "There you go." And they've got a different person responded to me, but he sent me the DSAR, and he sent me a password to go with it. Simple as that. So this was the bit that didn't really work. I don't know if you can read that, but basically what I did was I turned around and I came in a bit more aggressively. I turned around and said, "Look, firstly, it's not a private document. It's a legal document to prove the debt has been sold. I don't want somebody else coming after me, do I?" I said, "You're claiming you're a third party collecting for them. Doesn't matter. I have not got a contract with you, and I haven't had any dealings with you. And you've proved in the DSAR that you don't have any stake to the claim. So it's now down to the original person to show me the contract and prove it to me. I hereby request that you delete all my personal data." And I even tried to do any further correspondence with you, and I'm going to start charging you. Now, this is all the bit that didn't really work for me. And I just thought, okay, this all happened in the course of about a couple of days. I shut them down within a week. So this was like and this particular bit was happening in one day, within a couple of hours, actually, which was quite interesting. So I tried that, and they replied. They gave me a long reply. I don't know if you're going to be able to get much of this. They gave me a long reply.
Definitely
which
can't read that
probably
one at the moment.
probably needs some explaining more than reading, because so basically they turned around and oops, sorry. They said, regarding your query, data protection, blah blah blah. They basically said because they weren't the data controller, they didn't have to delete my data. Now I went away and I did actually have a look, and they're actually wrong in what they say on this particular occasion, as far as I'm concerned, because they don't have any right to hold my data, but they were arguing that they didn't have to. But I just ignored that. I only found that out afterwards, after I'd shut them down anyway. But I did have a look, and it did appear that they possibly could just keep it. And I thought, it doesn't really matter anyway. They don't seem to be doing anything else beyond that. So that was what and they turned around and said, "We totally don't agree with your terms and conditions" as well, which I thought was quite funny. So that's where they shut me down a little bit. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to carry on with this. And this, to me, was my takedown. This is what seemed to have worked, because I just turned around and said, "Thank you for your response. I take note that you do not want to enter into any further contract with me. All further correspondence will be collected as evidence for harassment claims should you continue to send correspondence without substance. Firstly, I hereby refute the assumption that I had agreed to this company's terms and conditions until a valid contract is supplied. The assumption that you made is hearsay, and hearsay is not admissible as evidence in a court of law. Not sure where this leaves Zinc Group, really. You have no contract with me. You have no proof of claim. And as you have no recourse through a complaint to the court, as I'm very happy to pay any debt owed, as I'm simply asking for proof of the debt as the burden lies with the claimant, you appear to be the claimant, so you must satisfy the request. Again, I've remained civil throughout this, and I have requested proof of the original contract and deed of assignment and validation that the water does not contain toxins uncovered in the water company's quality report. It should also be noted that it is assumed that you are being paid for your services to the utility company. In the interest of transparency of the claimed contract, would you kindly confirm your financial relationship with the company? Yours sincerely, me. And they came back with this. Thank you for your email. Contents are duly noted. As I mentioned in the previous letter, they're a third-party organisation and we work under the instruction of our clients. The outstanding balance of your personal details passed to us. The requested contact, blah, blah, blah. In relation to providing the documents of validation of debt, I would refer you to the previous letters, the copies of which were returned. Any other questions would be best placed with the client directly. Should you wish to contact them, you can find the details and how to contact them online. I've not heard anything from them since. To me, that was like, you don't want me to contact you anymore. And that's where I've left it. That was
Very well played. Very well played. And that's a great thing because even though there was a few, the mess up thing there, which wasn't really that big a deal anyway, you maintained your stance in the argument. That's what got it through. So if you think about it, it's the knowledge you had about the debt assignment, the contract part of it, and you just kept sticking to your guns.
Yeah.
And that, guys, is really all you need to do. In this case, what, £250 or something? 15 grand, it's the same difference. It's all the same. It's just a figure on a bit of paper and email, right? It doesn't matter. It's knowing your argument and sticking to your guns. They can't breach it and then they're just going to give up because there's so many other people they can go and pick on that don't know what's going on. Why mess around with someone that actually could cause them a problem?
Yeah.
It's better off to go and pick on somebody else. Well done, mate. Brilliant. It's where are you going with it next though? That's the key thing because that's the first experiment that you've succeeded with. What are you now applying that knowledge to?
I've changed a little bit. I'm a Vipassana meditator, so I've been to 4 10-day courses now, and I meditate twice a day. That's the thing. That's my thing in life at the moment. And from that, not that I want to preach about the side, but what I've learned from that is that if somebody comes at you with some anger, you don't have to accept it. Do you know what I mean? And if you can maintain some sort of lightheartedness and just a little bit of compassion somewhere, you can actually maintain these interactions a lot more friendly. And the more friendly you are and the more polite you are, the quicker the shutdowns appear to happen because no one's going to hit someone that's being nice to them. It just doesn't really work. So it's that I remember once reading about, there's a concept called the friendly dinosaur pose. I remember someone.
I've not heard of this. No.
This bloke used to use it to jump ahead of the queue at airports. And you go up and you start asking questions. And when they turn around and say no very aggressively, you put your hands behind your back and you just bend forward gently and smile and just ask them the same questions time and time again. And then when they don't answer you, you just stand to the side and let other people, and you just stand there in that same pose, just smiling. And after they just deal with you and they just go, there you go. Sit. Do you know what I mean? Because you haven't argued with them. You just waited patiently. And I just believe that actually wins through. I think when you come at these people aggressively, it gives them a wall to punch against. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I can attest to that, guys. All the stuff that we do, it's the same principle. With Damien and I have talked about it. We talk about high vibration and bringing that energy to your own correspondence. It's exactly the same principle, and it absolutely works. They have nowhere to go with it if you're not being triggered by anything that they're doing, and you're polite and you're respectful. That's not what they're doing. You see what I mean? It just doesn't mesh, and that's why you succeed.
Yeah. So
I will say this again, got no outright proof of this. Sometimes you can be absolutely incorrect with everything, but just super polite, super nice, blah, 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 blah. People have their own crisis of confidence, their own morals, or all these other things that go into it. Ultimately, they're the ones that can decide whether they're going to carry on with it or not. Yeah. So even just being nice and just putting people off that way, because like you just said, no one wants to punch the nice one. Even just that alone is enough for them to just move on and pick on somebody else,
Yeah.
So yeah, well done, mate. Really good. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that? Because this will be a short video.
No, not really. Other than just keep going at it. It's a really good idea to start with something small and get confidence. Once you've got confidence from one little thing, you can fight off anybody after that. Once you shut down a debt collection agency and you realise they don't have any power over you, And it's like any debt collection agent, anyone comes to the door, it's like, I don't have anything to do with you. So no, thank you. Do you know what I mean? But I think people are stopping coming to the door now, which is nice. Although they still do, apparently, if you try it with mortgages. I've been learning that people trying to do it with mortgages. And while the system does still work, obviously the banks don't quite like that because it's a much bigger stake in it. So you definitely have to pick your fights.
Agreed.
And the main thing, as far as I'm concerned, is keep yourself safe. Because I'm happy to do this with this and things like council tax and other things. I haven't gone down this route with the electricity company. Part of the reason I haven't is because I can't quite find the right moral standing for it in my own self. I use a lot of electricity. I play music, and you can't see what I've got here, but I've got 2 widescreen monitors and 2 laptops in front of me because I'm a bit of a geek. I use electricity, so I'm not playing that game with the electric car. Yes, they've put the prices up, and yes, it's not right, but I can afford it at the moment, but I've shut everyone else down. So I think having some sort of understanding of the moral, but I think you have to stay in good standing. I think this will start to fall apart without it, but that's my own moral side to it. And that's just, I wouldn't push that on anybody else, but that's how I do it. Do you know what I mean?
I completely agree. Everything that you've said, you've got to morally have your own position. Otherwise, why the hell are you doing it? I've said this. You can't do this stuff on the basis that you just think it's just a bit too expensive. I don't want to pay it anymore. That isn't a reason. You've got to understand what's really going on. And like you say, morally for you, you're not taking on the utilities, and that's absolutely fine. There may be a trigger point for someone else to do that. Everyone's got their own reasons. But the main thing I think is have a go. But
Yeah.
don't be scared about outcomes. And what Rob's showing you there is the debt collection scam. It's 80% of most of the things we're dealing with comes via the debt collectors. If you lose the energy of that and you're not to deal with that situation, you're pretty much free. You know, you've got the other bigger things to deal with. So you mentioned mortgage. I wouldn't tackle that one. I know you haven't done that one. I think that's just one of those ones where they run the world right now, right? You're never going to succeed in that scenario. So why get yourself into a situation where, and we have it now, where people are reaching out, they're getting repossessed. And you look at it and go, you've created that situation because of what you've done without really thinking that through. So pick the fights, pick the ones that you can win.
That said, there was a channel online where they're fighting against the repossessions and they're actually getting the houses taken back as well. That's really, but that's a really deep. It's like, how deep do you want to go down the rabbit hole? Do you want the easy life or do you want the fight? I want the easy life, the comfort life. I want to be happy and make other people happy. Do you know what I mean? It's
I completely get it. And especially right now, because I know we haven't spoken about this, but I am going to do a video on this, guys. Like my view, and I'm going to show you the facts of this, is that we are very nearly at the end of this thing and we are about to get freed. Now, that may be very controversial for a lot of people watching this because there's a lot of doom and gloom and FUD and the fear mongering all going on, but it's all BS, guys. We are near the end. Okay. And that's why Rob's saying the same thing as well. So pick your fights, definitely give it a go. It's good for the soul. It's good to do this stuff and just know that you can win. It's actually, you said to me actually before we recorded, and I think it's really important. You were surprised at how quick it came together for you, like the knowledge pieces of it. Yeah. And that's really important. It isn't actually that hard. You don't need, you're using aspects of contract law in that correspondence.
Yeah.
And I haven't even asked you this thing, but how deep is your knowledge of contract law, would you say?
It's getting a lot deeper now, actually, to be fair. I've got a big fat tome of contract law that's one of the ones that they recommend to law students. And I've also got, there's a couple of books you recommended on one of your videos, which are study guides, which are study books. I've got one of that contract law, one of tort law, and one of criminal law. With contract law is the one I've read. I'm also looking into equities, but I've only been doing this for 6 months. I think I've been doing this. And I do have a copy of Black's Dictionary now as well, because now I've found a newfound way of getting money. It's
Go on, sorry, Rob.
I bought a copy of Black's Dictionary last week, edition 11th, I think. And I'm surprised how often I've been tapping into it. Every time one of these videos online, suddenly I can look at that. And the more you read, the more the language starts to make sense. It's just normal language essentially. And I don't know how important the legal ones are, other than for some deeper understanding, because a lot of this stuff just goes ridiculously deep, and I'm a philosophy bug. I go as deep as it can go, but you don't need to go that far at all.
No.
But it does come together quite quickly. That's what I've found.
That's the kind of the point I was trying to make with there is what Rob's saying. It's like it's not a lot of time before it starts to come together, and it's just keep chipping away at it every single day, something new, and you will eventually start joining all these different dots. So, on the contract law thing, as an example, we've not spoken about this. I have this principle that I apply to everything in life. Actually, everything. It's Pareto's law. Have you heard of it? The 80-20 rule.
Oh, yes.
So you can apply this to every single thing you deal with. But if we applied it to this scenario as an example, and just talk about what Rob was saying, that you can go deeper and deeper into all of this stuff, you can apply Pareto's law of 80-20, and you can simply say 80% of the stuff that you're digging into right now is absolutely irrelevant to what it is you're trying to do. And so the
Yeah.
trick then is understanding that if you're digging into legalese and all these different things, you have to have the comprehension to know that's forming part of the 80%. Might be nice to know, but I don't need it for what I need to do. You need to know the 20%. So if you apply that principle to everything and you focus on your 20%, back to contract law, you don't need in-depth knowledge of that. You just need the 20% high level to deal with these debt collectors. You're never going to go deeper with it. For me, the deeper stuff is just personal interest that helps build the picture out, but you don't use it as a tool to do what you need to do. I wasn't meant to bring in Pareto's law there, but I think it's important. I use it all the time for everything. It helps you make quick decisions. You can look at a situation, you understand the 80-20, you get rid of the 80%. Now you're focused on what matters. And the 20% is what moves the needle for you in a positive sense. And then, again, think about that. Let's step back from that. Look around what other people are doing. How many people are getting themselves tied up in knots all over the place, getting led around by all these different organizations, getting into all these different difficult situations? It's because they're playing in the 80%. It's the irrelevant stuff that gets you in trouble.
It is, yeah. I can contest to that. Because there was two things that got this for me, really, was the video that you posted up. It's really handy to find someone that actually goes through an example of how they've done this. And because I followed that quite closely in the way I did it, if you notice. That was really nice to see, because you're actually seeing somebody shut something down. So you've got proof that it actually works.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people need that before they'll even put their toe in the water. And there was one other point I was going to say, but I've forgotten it, I'm afraid, because my old.
No worries. So I think we'll bring this one to a close, guys. So I think the main message is have a go. It's actually quite simple to do. And on that note, actually, I'm going to put more of those types of videos up, because there's another thing that you mentioned was there was something I mentioned about utilities and warrants of entry and prepayment meters that I said as an off-the-cuff remark in a video I did with Damien. And it's made me realize that these things I could put into very quick, simple 5-10 minute videos. And that's a little remedy there for people that we all forget about. We just do this stuff just normally, forgetting that we even know it. Yeah. So Rob's given us a prompt there, because I've actually, from that, I've got 5 videos I think I could bang out by next week on that basis. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, guys, hopefully this is of interest to you. And Rob, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, mate.
Do you find the legal system overwhelming and wish you had the knowledge and skill sets to control judges, persuade attorneys, and win your case? Well, look no further. Sovereign Empowerment is proud to announce our partnership with Dr. Frederick Graves so that we can bring you the Jurisdictionary Law course, How to Win in Court, your ultimate resource for mastering the courtroom. Unlock powerful case-winning strategies as you learn to control judges like never before. This comprehensive course eliminates guesswork and empowers you to navigate the legal landscape with absolute confidence. With step-by-step instructions, flowcharts, and outlines, you'll have all the tools you need to persuade and control judges in any case or court. Learn from a seasoned attorney with over 40 years of winning experience, who has distilled his expertise into this comprehensive program. Access everything you need in one single package, including sample forms, video seminars, audio clips, and in-depth case-winning classes. Learn at your own pace, anytime, anywhere. Our 24/7 online access allows you to tailor your learning experience to fit your schedule. Access the course on your smartphone, tablet, or computer and become a legal master whenever and wherever you want. Benefit from a suite of powerful tools, including a free online legal research tool, a legal dictionary with common sense definitions, and an exclusive Q&A forum to connect with fellow students and obtain expert guidance. Good people have suffered too long at the hands of power because they just didn't know how to fight back. Now, in a matter of just a few days, you can acquire the tools and knowledge that takes law students years years to achieve. Can't afford a lawyer? No problem. With the Jurisdictionary Law course, you'll gain the skills to win your case without expensive legal representation. Alternatively, equip your own legal consult with the tools and tactics to fight effectively on your behalf. Level the playing field and secure your victory. No matter what court, civil or criminal, conquer any courtroom challenge with ease. This step-by-step guidance ensures a quick and straightforward learning experience, empowering you to navigate the legal system with bulletproof confidence. As a testament to your newfound legal expertise, you'll have the opportunity to complete a final exam and receive an honorary law degree upon successful completion of the course. Showcase your achievement and establish yourself as a force to be reckoned with in the legal arena. Dr. Graves believes everyone deserves access to legal knowledge. That's why we offer the Jurisdictionary Law course at an unbeatable price. For less than the cost of a 1-hour legal consultation, you'll gain unlimited access to this complete program for up to 2 full years. Take control of your legal battles without breaking the bank. How to Win in Court has become the most trusted law course worldwide since 1997. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to gain the upper hand in the courtroom. Enroll in the official Jurisdictionary Law course today and unleash your legal power. Click the link in the description below to become legally empowered today.